Yo, my name is Dan, and I'm going to do a ghost run of the first level of Thief. So I'm just going to go from the start here. I'll skip the training level. It's not really anything you need to be spending time on if you know the game. Bafford's Manor is, I would say, the real training level of the game, because it's when you get to actually encounter some of the obstacles that make the game challenging. So the goal of the level is to sneak into Bafford's Manor and steal his scepter, and then of course get back out without alerting the guards. We also want to get 700 worth of gold or valuables while we're there, because that's the requirement on expert difficulty. Can't kill anyone, but since we're ghosting the level, it's going to be bloodless anyway. In fact, we can't interact with the guards in any way. If we get any alert above just the basic, what's called a level 1 alert, then the run is busted. What that means is if they see you and they remark, it seems like they see something or they hear something, that's fine. But if they react as though they know you're there, if they raise their sword, if they're searching for you, that's called a second alert, and that's what ends the run. We're going to do Bafford's Manor without getting any second alerts, and fulfilling all the other criteria, and we're not going to knock anybody out. We're not going to engage in any violence whatsoever. Now, I don't do this as a perfect ghost, because doing that in a single segment is very difficult. I like to do my runs single segment, which means I don't save and reload. I don't, I just don't like playing the game that way. It winds up being too stop and go. So my goal is to go through the entire level beginning to end, accomplishing all goals, and doing so without having to reload at all. I won't be taking any items because, one, doing the run as a ghost rules it out, but also because we just don't need it. On the streets here, you really can't be detected, or rather you can, it's just it won't go to a second alert. The reason being that, it's fine for you to be on the streets. That's not true in later levels, but in this level, there are guards that patrol the streets that you can walk right up to, and they, it won't count as a second alert. I like to avoid them anyway. It's just good practice. The reason I take the sewers is, one, out of habit for doing attempted perfect ghost runs in the past, but also because there's some hidden treasure there. And this will lead us right up behind the guard that has the key to the well, and that's going to be our entrance into Bafford's Manor. He is drunk enough that you can just take the key right off of him. You can usually pickpocket from behind anyway, but it doesn't matter what you do short of attacking him. He won't raise any trouble at all. Now we've gone down the well. We're making the approach into Bafford's basement. There is a side area down here, which leads to some extra treasure. If you're going for all of the treasure on the map, that's an area you'll have to go to. I don't go there because alerting the spiders does count against the ghost. That's kind of silly, but those are the rules. I'm not here to fight him, and I don't need to get that to meet the 700 gold requirement.
Inside at last.
The sir could really beef up security some.
What do you mean? What's wrong with us?
Well, we're fine. But I've been thinking we should watch the outside.
That's stupid. People to worry about there on the inside.
No, then you catch them before they get inside, you taffer.
Oh.
Those two feature throughout the game, and even in Thief 2. They're kind of a recurring joke. They keep getting handed from one noble house to another, apparently as they fail their jobs of stopping you. So you encounter them regularly, and they always have some silly little conversation like that. This part here is one of the few things that's really timing sensitive in the run. Putting out that torch, putting away the weapon. When you have your weapon out, you move a little bit slower and you're a little bit more visible. So the goal is sneak in there. Sneak in there before he's alerted. Now sometimes I fail that. Sometimes he comes in sword raised, but I only got the first alert that time. And that means that the ghost is still intact. Got some money from that. The other chest there just contains a pot that gets in your way. Some sleeping dudes. And we're almost into the normal patrol areas. Now sound is very important in this game. Did he just pass by? I can't be sure. So there's a guard that patrols right up to this door, and if you open the door while he's right on the other side of it, of course he's going to see you, and you're going to be in trouble. The way to get around this is using the game's sound. If you sit right here next to the door, you'll be able to hear what's on the other side of it, which means you'll be able to hear him walking up to the door, and usually he whistles while he's patrolling as well. And then when you hear the footsteps stop getting closer and start moving away, you can sneak in behind him. That is the safest way to get through if you know there's a patrol. Oh, there he is. Getting closer. And it sounds like he's moving off. Now I'm going to slip into this corner here. Notice my gem just went really dark. That means I'm pretty well hidden. I have just had oddball situations where he's turned around and seen me. So I try to avoid having that happen. Now here, sometimes a guard patrols out that door. Unless you see the door opening as you're approaching that corner, it's usually safe to go right through. Up here we have tile. Tile is a dangerous surface to cross in this game because it makes a lot of sound when your feet hit it. Even if you're crouching, even if you're slow walking, it makes a loud clack when your feet touch the tile. The way to get around that is to, while sneaking, hold down the shift key or whatever your slow walk key is and take one step at a time. Just a very brief step and move forward. When you do this, you don't walk forward for enough time consecutively for the game to record a footfall. As a result, you don't make any sound crossing the tile. It's a really slow process, but it's a good way to get where you're going. Now here there's tile and there's carpets, so if you can make the jump onto the carpets, you don't make any sound that they hear. You'll notice I pickpocketed the key off of him. That's the way to open the door here to the throne room, or the throne room approach I should say. We're not quite there yet. I usually take the right door here, because the guard up ahead, more often than not, will turn to face towards currently my right. I'm dousing these torches so that, obviously so the room's darker. We have an easier, safer approach on this guard. He hears something, but he doesn't hear me specifically, or he doesn't know it. Oh, put my weapon away. Again, you don't want to keep your weapon out when you can help it. Generally, you move a little slower with it out, and you're a little more visible.
It's a throne room.
That's the scepter we came to get. Now we just want to sneak out before he turns again. Now, unless I goof up on the tile here, we should be safe. I do like leaping onto that carpet, though. There's two reasons. One, I just like dancing around the throne room right in front of the guard. It's silly, but it's fun. The second reason is that it's a little bit safer to exit from this door, because the guards that patrol up on those walkways go from left to right. So this door comes out behind them, whereas the other one comes out in front of them. I've never actually been detected. It may be that that door isn't in their line of sight, but rather than test it, I like to just go through the door that's behind them. It's good for my peace of mind. Entering the library here.
I wonder if he reads them or if it's just for show.
Now with that, I should have met the 700 objective. Yeah, I've met the objective. I'll probably grab at least one or two more pieces before I'm out of the manor. But at that point, you are good to go. All you need to do is get out. Here I'm waiting for a guard to patrol through. I could probably approach a little closer safely, but let's not take chances, okay? There is another way into the throne room as well. Going up, I don't believe it's this one, but the one opposite it. There's a walkway that leads to a tapestry you can cut open and enter the throne room through the rafters. Now, that's probably a safer way to approach if you don't know the game very well. However, destroying that tapestry goes against the ghost rules. So, if you're ghosting, you can't do that. If you're just playing the game for the first time, that might be the way to do it. Just checking to see if the guard's here. I've had it happen before. But we're out. We've escaped into the city streets, and that is a successful ghost run done single segment. Met all objectives. 755 loot out of 1429, just under 10 minutes, and no damage dealt, no one killed. That is good enough for me. Thanks for watching.